Hello and welcome to today's edition of our conversations. This is Catholic Trends. This is the base where we set the pace in conversations regarding everything Catholic. This evening we are looking at a very important conversation, and that is the issue or concern about the dwindling Catholic population in Ghana. We are going to have this conversation in three folds. This is the very first edition that we're having, and we're going to talk to some key persons when it comes to the student front as far as the Catholic fraternity is concerned. The second phase of this conversation, we'll try and have conversations with chaplains in various Catholic institutions across the country. Then in the final phase, we would have a conversation with parents so that we are able to get diverse perspectives as to how to handle this issue of dwindling Catholic population in Ghana. My name is Ernest Senanudovlo. I'm doing this with Vincent Kwame Amejake with technical support from Jean-Luc Kwasi Dokli. Many thanks for joining this conversation. This conversation is actually very interactive, and so I urge you to join us via WhatsApp with your questions and comments on 050 713 6857. If you are testing from outside Ghana, please do add the country code, which is +233. So +233 507136 857. Our topic for this evening is dwindling Catholic population. How do we sustain the faith of freshers in tertiary institutions in the country? And we're having these conversations against the background that schools have admitted new students and they're going to join their colleagues who are already in school. But there is a background to this whole conversation. And so Vincent Kwame Amejake has been gathering some information, making it very important as to why we need to have this conversation. And so Vincent, and before I even introduce my guest for this evening, kindly give us that background that makes this conversation all important.
All right, good evening, Sana. Thanks to you and everyone on the call. Apologies for the noise in my background. So the issue of the number of Catholics going down is not too much just a localized issue. I think if you follow the reports of Catholic Trends for some time, I think since the beginning of January last year, you would notice that here and there are comments and then stories coming up that all around the world, the Catholic population is going down. There are so many, propositions that have been made as things that are contributing to the decline in the numbers. Thankfully, so it is not just the decline that we witnessed. Quite a recent story we did on shows that Nigeria is actually experiencing a growth in certain areas. They are rather witnessing, even though reasons you would prefer that for people leaving the church, they are witnessing growth, and even parts of the US are also witnessing growth. So it is not entirely a very terrible situation, but Ghana has been on a radar for quite some time because of the massive decline. If you check the census data from 2010 to 2020, and even the recent plenary assembly by the Bishops' Conference, you would just look at the number and you would be so worried. I'll take us to a story worked on by Magdalene Cahill with facilitation from Catholic Trends here was based on a statement issued by the Bishops' Conference. I'll read the headline and then the bits of the story and then move on to others as well. So the headline says Bishops in Ghana concerned about dwindling population of Catholics in the country. And that story was by Magdalene Cahill on ACIA Africa, or story dated December 1, 2022. And it reads, bishops in Ghana have expressed concern about the dwindling number of Catholics in the West African nation. In their message ahead of Christmas 2022, members of the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference described the situation as alarming and attributed to many external and internal factors. Um, it quotes part of the 2021 population census, and I read that as well. Although the 2021 population enhancing census in Ghana shows an increase in Christian population, the number of Catholics in the country is dwindling, GCBC members say in their November 26 statement. Over the past decades, they say the population of Catholics in Ghana has been on a downward trajectory from 15.1% in the 2000 census to 13.1% in the 2010 census, and a further decline to 10% in the 2021 census. I'll end this one here and go on to another story. But as I mentioned, you take note of the numbers. It used to be 15.1, it went down to 13%, and now currently at just 10%. We
Right.
have a priest, Father Michael Mensah, who also made some comments, and the headline reads, this one you can find it on Catholic Trends, and it was published on September 5, 2023. Our parishes will be empty in 30 years if we don't pay attention to the youth, Father Michael Mensah. And it reads,
Right.
Reverend Father Michael Mensah has said the basilicas and huge parish halls, among other infrastructure, the church in Ghana is investing in will sit empty with no Catholics in the next 30 years if no attention is paid to the youth. Father Mensah's caution emanates from the 2022 Advent letter of the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference, raising serious concerns about the growth trajectory of the church. And the story continues and makes reference to the data I already mentioned. But he said that the church in Ghana is likely to face the fate of its counterpart in Europe if deliberate efforts are not put in place to retain young people in the church. And I can say for sure that this conversation this evening is it will begin part of deliberate efforts to ensure that young people are retained in the church. And what is relevant for our conversation this evening is that he was speaking at an event at the St. Thomas Aquinas Catholic Chaplains University of Ghana, which is one of the vibrant Pax Romana units in the country. And I think I'll take us to one more story, and then we can go back to have the conversation. Penchant to copy Pentecostal charismatic styles of worship, not solution to our dwindling numbers. Penchant to copy Pentecostal charismatic styles of worship, not solution to our dwindling numbers, Bishop James. And this one was from the President of the Bishops Conference. President of the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference, Most Reverend Matthew James has emphasized the importance of authentic liturgical celebrations for effective evangelization. Referencing Pope Francis' recent remarks to liturgists, Bishop James stressed the need for priests to plan and prepare and as well conduct lively liturgies that bring the faithful closer to God and each other. He highlighted that such celebrations should not only adhere to liturgical norms, but also resonate with the hopes, joys, aspirations, and needs of the people. Bishop JF expressed concern about a growing trend to imitate Pentecostal and charismatic styles of worship, and emphasizing that this approach is not the solution to the challenges of dwindling numbers within the church in Ghana. And a more recent one, uh, part of the solutions that has been proffered, that YCS Katsu Youth Policy takes center stage at Youth Chaplains meeting in Goso. So as Senator rightly mentioned, the conversation will be extended to gather the views of chaplains. So they also had a meeting earlier in the year, and then they put out something, and I'll read that. Issues concerning the revival of the Young Christian Students Movement, YCSM, as also known as Catholic Students Union, CASU, which I think you mostly would find in the senior high school levels, as well as a youth policy implementation plan for the church in Ghana, have taken center stage at an ongoing Catholic Youth Chaplains and Full-Timers meeting in the Goso Diocese. The meeting was held sometime in March, but I would jump that the meeting is coming at a time bishops in Ghana are expressing concern about the dwindling number of Catholics in the West African nation. So basically, all these stories that we have just read to us are still mentioning the fact that the numbers of the church is going down, particularly the age brackets of the youth are the most vulnerable. If you look at the data, thankfully, the Accra Archdiocese, in a recent release from the Archbishop, says the church in Accra should focus on evangelization and dealings with children. Evangelization should be focused more on children. I believe we may all know why, because at least it is the children that will grow into the young youths and then probably later become the future of the church. And so I'll
Right. Listen, I think that gives us quite a good background for us to begin our conversations.
Right.
So let me go straight into it and introduce my guests. We have Noah Jukutu Kwame. He is the Pax National President. We also have Alfreda IDC. She is the UDS Pax President. We have Joel Selom Apeku, KNUST Pax Choir President. We have Afo Williams, University of Ghana Pax President, and Tano Grace Ofori, UCC Pax Secretary. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Right, so Vincent has given us that background to this conversations. And so, first and foremost, I want us to take our first comments regarding what we make about this background that has come to us. The Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference has made several lamentations about the dwindling number of Catholics that we have. And we also heard about Father Michael Mensah, who is very instrumental when it comes to dealing with students and all that, because we know he's a lecturer at the University of Ghana. He says that we should pay more attention to young people. For us as young people, let me start with you, Noah. What do you make of this lamentation, for want of a better word?
All right. Thank you very much. I side with the priest and the various articles that were being read to us, based on certain personal experience. Because some time now, I can realize that some people that I saw them growing up in the Catholic Church, one way or the other, are no more. So I think it's true. There is a decline in our number. Maybe because most of us that are vibrant go to church every day. So a close look might not be there. But I think that it's true. There is a decline in our number as Catholics.
Right, Alfreda, what do you think? Is this something we should be worried about? Alfreda, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but Ben, I'm actually struggling to hear.
So I was asking if this is something that we should be worried about. The concern is about the dwindling number of Catholics. Do you think this, for want of a better word, temptation is accurate? Are we really facing dwindling Catholic population in the country from where you sit?
I think that's the case, because if we do go to the various universities, we all can see for ourselves what is happening in there. And then I think it is very true that we are gradually dropping out of the church. Much of the issue is with the elder people. You come to the various universities and you see students who are Catholics but on campus don't identify as Catholics, but when they get up, they are being higher studies. That is really the problem that we should
Right.
address.
Let me go back to Noah. You are the national president for Pax Romana. And for those of us who are hearing Pax Romana for the very first time, perhaps you'd want to give us some education on what Pax Romana is all about before we go into our conversation.
Okay, so Pax Romana, um, it's it's just a term that is given to all Catholic students who find themselves in a tertiary institution, being it in the universities, the teacher training, in the nursing field. Yes, it's a general term for us. Just that when you are in the nursing school, we have a branded name called Fidget. Yes, for them, and in the teaching field also we have ACT. So any Catholic that finds him or herself in any of the tertiary schools is a member of PAX. In our SHS, we know us to be called CASU, that's the Catholic Students Association. But when you get to the tertiary, we have a special name that is Pax Romana, simply means peace from Rome. So Pax Romana simply means peace from Rome, and it's also the Catholic students in the tertiary institutions.
Right. And so if you just joined us, this is Catholic Trends. We are looking at how to sustain the dwindling number of Catholic population in the country. And this evening we are focusing on tertiary institutions. How do we sustain the faith of our brothers and sisters who enter the tertiary institutions? My guest this evening, national presidents of PAX, Jogoto Noah Kwame is on with us. We also have Alfred IDC. She is UDS PAX president. We have Joel Salom Apaku, KNUST PAX Choir president. We have Afo Williams, UG PAX president. And we also have Tano Grace Ofuri, UCC PAX secretary. You can join the conversation via WhatsApp with your questions or comments on 050-7136-857. 050-7136-857. Noah, clearly we all agree that there is a problem. So the question to you now as a national president is how have you tried to address these challenges, that is maintaining the Catholic population in the tertiary institutions since you took over as national president? What have you been doing?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So Pax Romana, taking the national federation, we have some activities that are geared towards encouraging and engaging our students. Yes. So before I even tackle nationally, Pax Romana has divisions. We start from the local, which is the various universities that we have. So in the University of Ghana, you can find them to be Pax Romana UG local. When you go to the University of Professional Studies, it's Pax Romana UPSA local. So it starts from that local, then you move to a zone. Now, the zone comprises of schools within a structured, let me say, region. So we have four regions. We have four zones, sorry, which is zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4. So zone 1 constitutes the institutions in the Cape Coast, let me say the central region, the western, all those schools at that side, all the tertiary schools at that side constitute zone 1. When you come to zone 2, we have all the schools in Ashanti region, the Branhafo area. Zone 3 comprises of Greater Accra, Volta region, Eastern region, and Zone 4 contains Northern region, Upper East, Upper West, Savannah regions. Yes. So locally, we empower our students and the student leaders to have activities that is geared towards engaging our students and also empowering them. So one program that we have is NACOM. So when you talk about NACOM, it's just National Consultative Meeting. At this meeting, the executives of the various locales meet, and then they deliberate on activities that can help raise the students on their various campuses. So the students leaders are being given the opportunity to outline activities that their students, we consider the students very, very much. So their students, what their students are likely to join, and also encourage them. So
Right. No,
the
I think that I appreciate the information you're trying to provide and all that, but I want you to be more specific. What have you done as national president for PAX to help sustain the numbers that we have in our tertiary institutions?
all right, so there are various programs. We have the PAX outreach, yes, PAX outreach to SHS schools. So we realize that SHS, that is where the students move from to the tertiary institution. So we reach out to them locally. We make the locals visit the schools in their vicinity, and then they get the Catholic students on board, tell them what they are going to see when they come to the tertiary, and also how to find them. We also have the choral fest. I think it's music unites people. Yes, most students really enjoy music, so we have choral fest, which brings all the choirs in the various institutions on board, and then they have their festival. We also have NAPAC, that is the National Pax and Alumni Congress, where continuing students, get the privilege to meet some alumni from the various institutions, serve as a platform to socialize with them. Then they get more information from the various ends of Ghana. I think there's a few.
Right. Let me now come to Alfreda. Alfreda, if you can hear me, um, you are in UDS, and we understand that we have a lot of Catholic students over there. So can you share with me the specific experiences or success stories when it comes to UDS regarding the integration of Catholic students and the impact of Pax Romana?
Okay. So thank you so much, Sam, for the question. So yes, as you rightly said, for UDS, I think we can boast of a huge number of Catholics on our campus. Though we are not new to that issue of losing Catholics and all. But when we talk about the experiences over there on our campus, I think Pax Romana is a lovely family on our campus, and then I think some of the success stories when it comes to welcoming and integrating our members into Pax Romana starts right when students walk into campus. So that reminds me of an experience I had as a level 100 student. So I remember I reported on campus on a Saturday, and then the next day, Sunday, I was supposed to, of course, as a Catholic, go to church. And then I was confused because no one really directed me as to where the Catholic church was and all. So I had a bit of a challenge. I was just lamenting to my roommate what I was going to do the next day. It didn't reach 5 minutes, and then there was a knock on my door, only for me to open, and then I realized that they were Catholic students, continuing students on campus who had come to welcome me as a Catholic to their school, and then to also invite me to church the next day. And that was sort of a relief for me. And I think over the years on campus, we have such outreaches and registration of our freshers when we come to campus. So right from the onset, we register our freshers. We visit them at their various hostels, make sure we get the numbers on board, and then from there we have various orientations for them. So orientation on what the Catholic body on campus is all about. Yes. So and then we equally give them the opportunity to learn from continuing students as to how they have been able to blend their academics with their spiritual lives and their social lives and all that. that the university comes with. And then we equally have so many other orientation sessions where we have our chaplain and then a few other priests amongst us and resource people to come take them through the Catholic faith and what is expected of them as Catholics on campus and all. So generally for our members on campus, I can see that that sense of belonging is there, and anyone who really is involved in the activities that we have on campus. At the end of it all, a purposeful life is what you would have on campus, and then your preparation for the future is going to be bright and all. And I can say that I have spent almost 6 years on campus, and I can say that Pax Romana has impacted in my life personally greatly, and that is because I allowed myself to really get to know Pax Romana and then accepted it as a family that it is for me as a Catholic. So I think most of my members will have the same story to share. So generally, that is
Right.
it from our end.
Right, Alfred, I think that you would have to relook at your microphone. It's very difficult hearing you clearly, so that the next time you come in, we are able to hear you clearly. Let me now go to William. Williams is the president at the University of Ghana. William, you came up with a statement not too long ago clarifying some issues about some misinformation going around that there's no Catholic church on the University of Ghana campus. How did we get here? And what are you doing about it?
I can barely hear you.
William, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Right. So I was asking that you had to come out with a statement not too long ago, together with your chaplain, clarifying some issues. And I'm asking how we got here and what the issues are and what you're even doing about it.
How we?
How did
So
we
how
get there?
we? I didn't hear get up at all.
All right. So you issued a statement not too long ago. Is that correct?
Okay, is it a video about a freshman?
Yes. Aside that, there's also a statement going around from the University of Ghana chaplaincy.
Okay, which statements to be specific?
All right. Okay. So I'll come back to you. Vincent is getting that statement ready, and then we will talk about that particular one. But let me go to Tano Grace Ofori from UCC. Grace, can you hear me? Grace, can you hear me? All right. Joel is also joining us from representing KNUST, and he is the Pax Qua president. We are trying to look at how various ministries we have on campus can help us achieve the goal that we actually want to achieve. So, Joel, if you can hear me, we understand that music has a very powerful impact on spirituality. Kindly take us through how the Pax Romana Choir is contributing to the spiritual life of students on KNUST, such that we do not have students getting swayed or getting convinced to move from the Catholic faith to other faiths. Joel, can you hear me? Well, it appears we're facing some challenges with Joel's line, and so let me go back to the national president for Pax, Noah. He has already told us about some of the practical things that are being done on the ground to prevent the dwindling, or to prevent Catholic students from getting convinced about their faith. Now, in the face of the dwindling numbers, what have you been discussing with your members on campus regarding issue of, right, Vincent. Okay, so we understand that Joel is facing some challenges, and so we will try to get him on board. But Noah, I was asking about what you think can be done from the student front, and then say the Episcopal Conference of Ghana. What collaborations do you think the student front and then the Episcopal Conference can have to help um, prevent or solve this problem that we're facing? Ah, okay, we are unable to hear you. Okay, I think we can hear you now.
Okay, thank you very much. And with this particular problem, I think we all have a role to play in it. I think we have to start from our various homes. Most of us get to know, or we are being pushed when we are growing from infant to go to church and other stuffs. So in joining the Catholic faith, I think our parents are the first people to be the change. The parents are supposed to be the head front to help the students. When they are moving to the SHS, I think we have to start from there. They should encourage them to take their faith very serious. Now, when we get to those fields, that's where we meet people from diverse areas. And because our parents don't assist us in going to church and other stuffs, it becomes a problem.
Well, it appears we having a challenge with
And we turn up.
Noah. Kindly reposition yourself so that we are able to hear you clearly. It appears we are unable to hear you due to connection issues, and so let me remind you that this is Catholic Trends, and this evening we're trying to have a conversation about how to help stop the dwindling numbers of Catholic students we have on campus. And so we're trying to have a conversation with student leaders, as I said earlier on. This is the very first phase. In the second phase, we're going to have a conversation with chaplains. And then we will also have a conversation with parents to help us understand and then solve this problem right from the roots. Let me go to social media and read some of the comments that we have. And Donald Weir says that the attempt to sustain the population should be a deliberate one, especially in the parishes. If the attempt at I think that I do not have the entire message you wanted to put across, but I think that the most important part has been captured. You're saying that we need a deliberate move. Dennis Appiah is the national coordinator, if I got his designation right. Mr. Appiah Sesreku, can you introduce yourself for the sake of those of us who are watching, and let us understand what you do?
Well, my name is Dennis Apia Sasaku. I'm the National Coordinator for IMCS Pax Romana, and I double as the General Secretary for Ghana National Catholic Youth Council, GANSEC.
Right. I understand. I want to believe that the concern of dwindling Catholic population has come to your table. And Donald Ria is saying that the attempt to sustain the population should be a deliberate one. And so let me throw that to you. What deliberate moves are you taking as the coordinator and also as someone who leads the youth in general when it comes to the Catholic Church in Ghana?
Well, this issue has been discussed on the youth platform at various stages youth chaplains have discussed it, youth leaders from the various dioceses have discussed it, students have discussed it, and as Noah said, we all have a role to play. Parents have a role to play, priests have a role to play, bishops have a role to play. All of us have to play a role in developing Catholics to especially understand the faith. I think the main issue has to do with understanding the faith and our practices.
Right.
And what
Well, it appears our internet connection is not helping. And so we're taking a word from Mr. Piazza. He is a coordinator, and then he also is a youth leader when it comes to the church in Ghana. We had on board the Pax Qua president for KNUST in the person of Joel Selam Apeku, but he is unable to join us via video due to some technical issues. And so he's joining us via audio. You would hear his voice, but will not be able to see his face. Pardon us for that. Now, Joel, if you can hear me, I was asking how ministries like the choir on campus, how do you think these ministries can help sustain the faith of students?
Hello, good evening, and thank you very much for the question. Yes, so ministries like the choir help sustaining the spirituality of students on campus. The choir, for instance, we edify masses and give meaning to masses to help give understanding to what the word of God gives us at masses. And also, every semester, Pax Romana for my local has a theme that guides us throughout the semester. And if the choir is to hold a concert or any other program,
Right.
prescribed for us, which all come together to lead people to what the theme has been saying all along in the semester and gives more meaning to the theme. Yes.
Right. So how are recruitments done for these ministries? For example, you lead the choir on KNUST campus. How do you go about your recruitment?
So for the choir, recruitment is open to anybody. Usually during the orientation for freshmen on campus by Pax Romana, we make ourselves known to them and open our doors for any interested member at all who wants to join. The voice is not a major factor for anyone to join the choir, but rather the zeal and dedication and the fire they have in them to serve God through music and playing of instruments. That is how we go about recruiting people. And also, if we identify some people with the talent of singing or playing an instrument who are a bit shy to join us, we also take the step to invite them to join us.
Right. That was the voice of Joel Salom Afeku. He is the Pax Qua president for the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He's unable to join us via video. Thanks so much, Salam, for your time. We'll go back to William. William is the president for the University of Ghana, Pax. And William, if you can hear me, how do you think that the Catholic Church can better collaborate with students, organizations like Pax Romana, to address this issue of dwindling faith among the youth?
faith among the youth. This issue is in the parishes, among the youth, in our institutions. But then I think it should be a collective effort. As Bishop Asari said when he came to visit UG, he said what it's not as if they are not there. When it comes to things that excite them, they show up. I was at Assisi on 31st of December, and the numbers I saw at Assisi, we always complain the numbers are reducing in the church, but then that's not what I saw at Assisi. I strongly believe our people are there, but then when it benefits them, they come. Some are also misinformed. They are misinformed. Your church is this, your church is that. But then I feel like our people don't really know what our church is all about. They have not really grasped the fundamentals of the catechism, what they are to know. So they are not able to defend themselves. And some are being swayed away by the upcoming charismatic churches. So I believe we need to reach out to our people more. Our welfare, we should get in touch more with our people, check up more on them. I think that could do.
Right. If you talk about reaching out more to our people, what exactly do you mean?
I believe our church, we are not friendly. We are not that friendly. The church, we are in such a way that we are kind of in groups, and breaking into that friend group is very difficult. Let's say when you go to Pax KNUST or Pax UG, you have, let's say in Nota or Pax Poa, you have a group that are about 5 friends, and as a newcomer breaking into that circle of friends too, you might want to join them, but breaking into that circle will be very difficult for you, makes you feel lonely, and then you end up going somewhere else and all of that. So we should be more accommodative and more friendly to new people. That's what I mean.
Right. Mr. Piazoku, if you can hear me, you were making some submissions before your line disconnected. If you can just take it over from there.
Yeah, I was saying that this issue would have to be tackled on a multifaceted way. We parents have a role, chaplains have a role, and when I say chaplains, all priests have a role to play, bishops have a role to play. When you are not really deep rooted in the faith, you have not taken your catechesis seriously. That is when you get to that level of tertiary, then you are shaking. You don't really understand the things that you do, and therefore, whatever somebody tells you, you just pick it and then go by that way. And some of the things, I mean, you have to even learn from home. How are parents involved in when their children go to or their wards go to the tertiary school? Do they even check up to find out whether they go to church, they attend the Catholic church or not? Yes, the students are doing their bit. We have student catechist. Every local has a student catechist. There may be chaplains. The student leaders are there organizing programs, St. Thomas Aquinas Day celebration, various programs to teach the catechesis. That is what they can do. But how are we ourselves, parents, chaplains, priests, encouraging the children to stay faithful to their faith? And I believe that is where how we have to tackle it from. There are campuses, there are locals that do not even have places of worship. The last time I went to Koforidua Technical University, they are worshiping in a corridor. When it rains, they can't have their worship. There are places that on Sundays, they don't have a place of worship. They are only have to do mass on weekday, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. So on Sundays, they'll find themselves joining other students to other churches. And this is the Catholic Church. Everything revolves around the priest. So if the priest is not available, what do you expect the students to do? So these are challenges that really needs to be tackled head on from the priest level, from the laity level where the parents are, then from the youth level, we can do our part. There are a lot of student leaders putting in a lot of sacrifices, a lot of sacrifice. When you go to the campuses and you see how student leaders are putting in a lot of sacrifices to make sure that church service or mass runs in the school, Pax Romana is running in the school, you'll be marveled. But where does the help come from? Then comes the challenge of financial constraints. You go to some campuses, they don't even have normal instruments for worship. They don't have organ, they don't have drums, even hymn books for worship is a problem. They
Wow.
don't have PA systems. I travel a lot and I visit a lot of the institutions. So when you are on the ground and you see the problems there, you applaud our students leaders because they are going through a lot to keep the faith alive in school. Some of these charismatic churches, they just go to the campuses and donate. And some do not really form churches on campus. They rather join another Pentecostal church or charismatic church that is close to the campus, where all these instruments are there. All the facilities they need are there. So for Pax Romana, you would have to distinguish between the chaplaincies from the locals that do not have chaplaincies. So for places like Eugene, KNUST, UCC, they have chaplaincies. So they will get all the things that they need for student apostolate. But when you go to other institutions where the school has not allowed the church to operate in the campus, there are even places that the school doesn't allow mass on campus. So student leaders would have to look for other places outside campus for students to gather.
Right.
So
So
these are
in
various
an instance
dynamics.
in an instance like this, that schools do not allow for masses to be held on campuses and all that, have you brought up this issue to the necessary authority, or you are just relaxed and saying that, well, they are not allowing us to have masses, and so there's nothing we can do about it? What steps are we taking
So
as
all
far as
the
this particular issue?
last year, in fact, 2022, when the National Youth Chaplain and myself met the bishops, we gave them a list of campuses or schools that do not have chaplains. And every youth chaplain in a diocese or diocesan youth chaplain is aware of the schools that do not have places of worship. The only thing they can do is to report to the bishop. It's the bishop that can take action. The rest of it is for the youth chaplain to look for a place which is convenient for them to worship. Remember, an appointment to an institution is done by the bishop. For the priest to go and say mass in an institution is either by voluntary means of a priest, or the bishop appoints him to go there. So, as I said, the issue is multifaceted, and it's not by tackling only the student side that solves the problem. So, as for data and the things we have reported to the bishops' conference, they are a whole lot. They are a whole lot. Thank you.
Right, Mr. Bia, Sister Crew, we'll come back to you for some other clarifications. But Williams, if you can hear me, I was talking to you earlier about a statement that was released, and you didn't seem to know
Yeah.
about that particular statement. But this statement is dated 29th of December 2023, and it has your signature, Mr. Afo Williams, as PAX president for University of Ghana. And you say that you do not know about this statement?
I know. You're talking a letter to the parishes. I know of what you are talking about. Yeah.
Right. So this isn't a letter. This is a statement. Vincent, if you can hear me, maybe read out this statement so that we talk about the issues in there.
The Pax at UG campus, dearest in Christ, the Catholic Church in the University of Ghana, Legon, that's the heading. Peace be with you. We write to seek assistance in conscientizing tertiary students of your parish about the existence of a vibrant Catholic community at the University of Ghana, Legon. Some Catholic students are intentionally deceived about the presence of the Catholic Church on campus, and we are doing everything possible to correct that. We believe these might have contributed to some no longer remaining Catholics by the time they graduate from the university. We hope to create more awareness in our various parishes and outstations across the country to help stem this tide. Your efforts in this endeavor are greatly appreciated. We also want to use this medium to encourage parents to follow up with their wards to ensure that they attend the Catholic Church while in school. Kindly contact any of the personalities below should you want any further information. And Reverend Father William Apre, who is chaplain for Pax UG, has been listed. Mr. Afo Williams, Pax president for UG, has also been listed. And they have their contacts in there and they can be called anytime. Mr. Jim and Nicholas, General Secretary for Pax UG, as well, has his contact in there. So this a statement, or preferably say a letter to try get parents to up various parishes within Accra, or I mean also probably outside Accra, to ensure that their wards visit St. Thomas Aquinas Catholic Church, which is the home of Pax UG, whilst they coming. Thank you.
Right. So, William, let's understand this whole issue. People are deliberately being deceived about the presence of a Catholic Church on campus. Why? The question that first comes to mind is, why would anybody even do this in the first place? It appears we're facing a challenge with William's connection. But Mr. Pias,
Senna,
if you can
Senna,
hear me, yeah.
yeah. So I don't know if I could come in a little bit on the part of where people are being deceived. The other question should also be, why should a Catholic from a house, from a Catholic home, baptized Catholic going to a university, and you go sit in a university somewhere and allow just anyone at all to come and deceive you? We should be looking at the individual Catholic who also sit down somewhere, be it in their classroom or in their hall of residence, to be deceived by someone, you know. So I'm thinking that as the conversation is going and as we look at the solutions, we should also be talking about the individuals who are Catholic, so that you've been trained, you've been baptized, you most some are also even confirmed. I mean, they've received the sacrament of confirmation, only for them to end up in places where they tell you, "Oh, I used to be a Catholic." I mean, so we should also drive the conversation in that regard to look at the individuals as well.
Right. Thanks for that intervention, Vincent. That is why we actually having this conversation in a series. We are planning to also have a conversation with parents, and I think that this whole intervention would come in very relevant here. But Williams, I was asking why
Yeah.
anybody would even have an interest in trying to deceive someone about the presence of a church on campus. I'm tempted to ask who are behind these.
Who are behind this? I can't point fingers here, but I've actually met people on campus who are in level 400 and they don't know there's a Catholic church on campus. That's very true. There are people around who don't know we have a Catholic church on campus. Yes, and I know people who go all the way to Queen of Peace Madina because they were told there's no church on campus and they didn't want to go to any other church, so they end up going to Madina. I've met people like that as well. So
So
it's out
doesn't
there.
that
People don't
go
know about it, and there are people.
right? Go ahead.
I'm listening.
Yeah, Williams, go ahead. I can hear you. All right. It appears we're facing a challenge with Williams' connection. We're trying to understand why anybody will be interested in deliberately deceiving people about the presence of a church on campus. And he's gone on to say that it is
Yeah,
true that
they go elsewhere. That oh,
some people some people do not.
I have so and hello.
Yes, so the question now is that you have rightly indicated that some people in even level 400 are not aware of the presence of Catholic Church on campus. The question that anybody will ask is that is this
Yeah,
not the case now that you probably are not doing your work like the way you should be doing it, and that is why people do not know about the presence of a church on campus? Wouldn't you agree?
can you come again? I didn't hear you or my network. Can you come again?
So I am saying that. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I can
So
hear
I
you.
am asking that if you say that people in level 400 do not know about the presence of a Catholic Church on campus, would anybody who say that you are not doing your job right be justified?
No, the person wouldn't be justified because during scouting we go room to room to scout for members. So it's possible when we came to your room you were not there, and then your roommate comes. There's no Catholic here, but then you come back and your roommate doesn't tell you. Okay, some Catholics came around looking for you. I don't see where we went wrong because we've done our part, but we
Right.
didn't meet you supposedly.
Are you aware that the University of Ghana, or I mean most of the universities have bulk SMS systems in place that you can use to reach out to
Yes, we
all
do that.
students at the same time. And you even have emails. You can actually send emails to all students at the same time. Have you tried using these platforms?
We've not used the emails, but we do use the bulk SMS system. We use it from time to time.
And we still do not, and we still have students not hearing about it. Probably they are not reading their messages, right?
Probably.
All right. So this is Catholic Trends. If you are on, we are grateful that you have stayed on up till now. We are trying to have a conversation on why we are experiencing dwindling Catholic population in the country. And this evening we are focusing on the tertiary institutions. We have heard over and over that a lot of our brothers and sisters coming from the senior high school into the tertiary, and then they end up losing their faith before they leave the university. And so this evening we're trying to have a conversation with some student leaders, trying to understand what the issues are. But this is not the last, this is the first of a series we are going to have on this conversation. And this session, I've already mentioned, we are talking to student leaders. We'll also talk to chaplains, and then we'll talk to parents. So we are able to get the various perspectives to this entire conversation. I did mention that you can join this conversation via WhatsApp on 050 7136 857 050 7136 857. But we have a comment from Donald Ria again. He says that I feel if the local churches are supported and strengthened, and the youth sensitized right from the parish level, they would even chase the Katsu and Pax when they get to the university. let me get to you, Grace. Grace is Pax Secretary for UCC. Grace, if you can hear me, what do you make of this comment by Donald? Is it the case that churches are not supported enough or strengthened so that we will sensitize our parishioners so that when they move out into the tertiaries, they are able to stick with the faith? Is this a conversation that you would ascribe to? Well, it doesn't look like we have Grace, but Alfreda, can you take up that question?
Could you kindly repeat the question? I lost connection for a while.
Right. So Donald is saying that churches need to be supported and strengthened, and that the youth, if the youth are sensitized right from the parish level, they will chase the Katsu and Pax when they get to the university. Is it the case from where you said that our members are not sensitized enough at their parish levels about the presence of such a group on campus that can be joined when they get to the tertiary level?
Okay, so I agree with him partly, but not entirely. I think our parishes are doing a good job, though there's more room for improvement. What I believe more is that more work needs to be done when it comes to our home setting, because the homes are supposed to be sort of like a domestic church, and so the basis should be built. It should start from the basis. So I think the issue mostly is what's from the families and all, and then partly our parishes also have a role to play, because most of these challenges that we are facing at the moment is because of that lack of knowledge. Our catechesis is not really strong. Yes, when you come to the universities and all, we only have people roaming about. When you ask them basic stuff, they can't. They are not able to really tell you the reason why as Catholics we do such things. So I think that is where our parishes would have to come in to strengthen their catechesis and then equally orientate the youth more, allow them the opportunity to be able to play roles in the parish level and all, because you have people, most of the people you have at the university level who do not really want to engage in past activities are people who are dormant at the parish levels. And so I think I agree with him partly, but I think the work needs to be done at various levels also, mostly at the home level. Yeah, thank you.
Right, right. We should be wrapping up this conversation in the next 30 minutes. But Alfreda, still with you. Are you able to tell us if you have a database on Catholic students on campus? Alfreda, can you hear me? Right, it appears Alfreda cannot hear me.
Okay,
Alfreda,
so
can you hear me?
with regards to database on campus, it is a project that we have actually been working on for a very long time.
Right, it appears we've lost Alfreda there. We are very sorry. God made man, man made machines. And so when we get Alfreda back on, we will try to get her take on that submission that she was making. But Williams, let me ask you the same question. Do you have a database of students or members as far as your campus is concerned? Williams, can you hear me? Well, um, it appears our connection is failing us. Joel, I can see you are still on with us. If you are on, you are not PAC's local executive in terms of the president or vice, but you lead the PAC's choir. I believe you would have an idea as to whether there is a database on campus or not? Are you able to share this with us?
Yes, please. For Pax Romana in KNUST, I am very much aware that the movement there compiles for themselves a database of all the Catholic students that are on campus. Right from the moment they enter in their first year, this information is gathered.
Right. When are you expecting freshmen and women to campus, and what's the plan to welcoming them?
So we are expecting them on the 6th of January, this Saturday, and usually when they arrive on campus, some of us volunteer to also go to campus with them. And while we are there, we go around to make Pax Romana known to them. And that is where we gather their information, get down their details. And even through that, we sometimes get to meet people who want to become Catholic. But mainly the purpose is to gather the information of people who are already Catholics and compile them and basically to get them to know that there's Pax Romana on campus. Yes, thank you.
Right. Williams, for you at the University of Ghana, what's the plan for freshmen and women coming in? Williams, can you hear me?
Not really. So,
Yes, I can hear you. Kindly go on.
okay. So the plan is they will report to school on the 12 to 14, and then we'll have a door-to-door scouting to hunt for our freshmen. We already have a WhatsApp group available to add them to it. So from there, we'll have a series, 1 week orientation for them to teach them about how the university is, parks, the church in general. So that's the plan so far.
Right. So that is the plan for welcoming your freshmen and women to campus. But
Yes,
Mr. Piasasreku, if you can hear me, we very often hear about students coming and leaving and not even getting to know about um, packs and all that. Um, what conscious plans in terms of evangelization to, for example, convince some students, because very often we hear that they came in as Catholics and they are living as non-Catholics. Are we also trying to be some fishermen, or it's just about being the shepherd and looking over the flock, and when they go astray, we sometimes just look on, or we are acting as fishermen, also going out there to come in. You have been very instrumental at the forefront of youth leadership in the Catholic Church. What are we doing, or what should we be doing?
Well, before the students go to school, there's something we call the Parks Reach Out campaign, where we share flyers of the various chaplains and then local presidents with their contacts, so that when parents see, they can inform their wards before they go to school, that these institutions have Catholic churches there, and therefore these are the people they can contact so that they can join the Catholic community there. Over time, there's always the program of the Freshers Aunt and then Freshers Week that introduces the students to the Catholic community in the school. Unfortunately, if you are not a deep-rooted Catholic and you enter the tertiary institution, you may not look for the Catholic Church.
Well, Mr. P.S. kindly
You
reposition yourself. Yes, kindly go on.
Hello, Sananu, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
So there's the Freshers Hunt and the Freshers Week, which welcomes students to campus. But the most important thing is the students getting to know that there's a Catholic community on campus. That is why we share the contact of the local presidents and the chaplains, even in the parishes, so that parents can identify that there's a Catholic community there. When you get involved in these Freshers Hunt and Freshers Week celebration, that is when you are introduced to the church, introduced to Pax Romana and what Pax Romana is about. And then you feel free joining the community. The students normally go to the hostels hunting for Catholics. That is always done in all the local institutions. But as I said, if you are not a deep-rooted Catholic, yes, I went to Hope Poly days back, years back, and when I went, I personally looked for the Catholic Church, even though later they came to look for me in the hostel. I first looked for the Catholic Church where they worship before they came to look for me. So once you're a deep-rooted Catholic, you are born and bred Catholic, your parents have your Catholic faith in their interest, they will definitely tell you that when you go to campus, look for the Catholic community and join them. So these are what the students are doing. There are various programs they organize. Normally when we go for NACOM, which is normally in February, every local spells out its programs for the term or for the semester, the 2 semesters, and we approve those programs. And these are the things we look out for: catechesis, how you are looking for your freshers, which programs you are organizing for freshers. Students even use their own money, pocket money, to organize refreshments for freshers. And all these things are
Right. So the argument Mr. Apias Reko is making is that yes, we may be comfortable saying that our student leaders are not doing so well, but he says that on the contrary, they are doing a lot of work. And what perhaps we should be turning our attention to is individuals building their spirituality than waiting for institutions to look for them or people to come and say, hey, there is Pax group somewhere here, so come and join us. But if we have people building their personal spirituality right from their infancy, we wouldn't have to be chasing them and even getting people to convince them and all that. I think that's a point that Mr. Pia Shreku is making right here on this particular platform. But we understand that students are reporting very soon to campus. For someone who is probably hearing about a parent or a guardian who is, or even a student who is hearing about Pax Romana for the very first time and going into one of these tertiary institutions, maybe wondering how to even connect with these people because they probably have not come into contact with any of the flyers shared or they're not even on social media. Joel, if you can hear me, perhaps you would want to put out some contacts that would help people who have joined this conversation to be able to connect with you on KNUST campus. How do we reach you?
Yes, please. So I would put my number across for anyone who wants to get into contact with the Pax Romana leadership at KNUST to contact me. So I would This is my number, 050 874 0501. 050 874 0501. So if anybody contacts me, I would share with that person the link that has for the WhatsApp group that has been created for all freshmen who are Catholics who would be
Right.
reporting to school on Saturday.
Aside sharing your personal contacts, do you have any social media platform for those of us who are social media freaks? We may want to connect via social media. Is there a possibility?
I can be reached on Facebook at Selom Afeku.
Well, not you as an individual, but we're looking at the presence of Pax on social media, Pax KNUST.
All right. Pax Romana KNUST is on Instagram at Pax Romana KNUST and also on Facebook at Pax Romana KNUST. So anyone who wants to reach out can find us there. Yes, please.
Right. Thanks so much. Williams, you represent the University of Ghana, Pax president. Um, how do we reach you?
Pax UG, IMCS Pax Romana UG local on Instagram. Yes.
Can you say that again?
Same as Twitter. Pax UG on Instagram, same as Twitter. We are currently not active on Facebook. Yeah.
Why are you not active on Facebook?
Can you come again?
Why are you not active on Facebook? Because I understand you have persons in charge of publicity.
Yeah.
Currently, we have
Yes, please. We
Miss Carlin. You have Miss
yes.
Carlin
We have a little
as
challenge
your
with our Facebook account. We have a little challenge with our
right.
Facebook account, but then we'll work on that soon.
Right. UCC, if you can hear me, how do we reach you? Grace. Grace, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes, at long last.
Okay, sorry, I had some network problems.
That's okay. Yeah, so I was asking how you can be reached in case anybody's listening and is coming to UCC and would love to connect with Pax Romana on campus. How do we do that?
Okay, so with Pax Romana UCC, we have media outlets. We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook and Twitter. Yeah,
Right.
at Pax UCC.
So for the fact that you were not able to make any of the contributions, do you have anything to say as far as this conversation is concerned?
Okay, so regarding the issue of the dwindling of population of Catholic students in, let me say, in the tertiary level, I think more efforts should be placed in, as in regards to reaching out to them and involving them in church activities, making them as a part of us. So one thing I think we can do is trying to embark on outreach, maybe visiting them in the halls time to time, and also kind of a one-to-one kind of policy. So when you visit them in the hall, so like when you visit them in the halls, you try to link them up with other people in the halls. So it's not be like, I think one person shared, as in the Eugene president, is it Vincent? Yeah, he was making a statement that if they come to your room, then you are not around, and your roommate doesn't make it known to you. So in this situation, I think when it's kind of we have some this one-to-one kind of policy where a Catholic gets to know a Catholic in the hall. Yeah, it will help foster that kind of unity within them in the hall before in the church. Yeah.
Right. Let me take this opportunity to ask a more specific question regarding UCC. Can you share with us um, your experience? What challenges do you have in reaching out to Catholic students?
Yes, most at times when we do the kind of hall to hall visitations, we don't really encounter them one to one. They are out or they go for lectures, or sometimes some of them they don't even allow us to enter the room. Yeah, those are some challenges we are facing, but we are trying to work on it.
Right. Let me get back to some of the comments we've received on YouTube. But let me remind you that this is Catholic Trends, and this evening we're having a conversation on how to sustain the faith of freshers in tertiary institutions. And Apostle Peter Wusu Ansa is saying that I may not have data to support my claim, but I think we are losing the fight right from SHS. And then Anthony Senam Fesu comes in to say that we have work to do. Kudos team for this conversation. Indeed, we have a lot of work to do, but we probably would have to continue this conversation somewhere else, not here. But Mr. Apias Reku, if you can just give us your final comments.
Thank you, Senanu. Yeah, thank you, Senanu. I think that generally, as I said, students are doing well. They are putting in a lot of sacrifice. We may also have to look at some kind of an arrangement where parishes can adopt institutions and support them in their student apostolate work, providing them with instruments, helping them with tents for places of worship, supporting their outreach programs like flyers and all that.
Right. I think that that's a brilliant idea that Mr. Apia Sasreku is trying to put across, but we have lost him there. We will try to reconnect with him and then get his take on that one. Yes, Mr. Apia Sasreku, if you can hear me, you were saying that you are encouraging that parishes adopt institutions so that they are able to support them in their student apostolates. Um, but you report directly to the Episcopal Conference, is that correct?
Yes, I do.
So, I mean, that's a fantastic idea. Have you tabled it yet? If not, why not? Because clearly it's the bishops' conference that is
Yes,
able to.
we have tabled a lot of suggestions. We
Right,
have
go ahead.
tabled a lot of suggestions, but some of these things, like if you understand the way the church runs, every bishop is autonomous. Every bishop takes his own decisions on how to run the diocese. So everything comes back straight to the bishop of the diocese. And you remember in the last 2 years, that's the 2022 bishops conference communique, it talked about parishes being taking charge of institutions within their environment, whether secondary school, whether tertiary institutions, or tertiary institutions within the local environment that you are placed in. Parishes should be able to go there and evangelize, go there and celebrate the mass with the students. But the question is, are parish priests doing that?
Right. Mr. Pias Reku is the national coordinator for PAX. He's also a youth leader in a church here in Ghana. He's trying to tell us what he has been doing because he reports directly to the Episcopal Conference. And he's made a brilliant suggestion that parishes should adopt institutions. And the challenge he's trying to put across is that because of the autonomous nature of the dioceses that we have in the country, it makes it very difficult for some of these decisions to be taken across board. So I'm tempted, or someone will say that you.
Vast challenges transporting the students to campuses or to church because the hostels are very far away. And it becomes, I was at the Takrady Youth Synod, and I made this suggestion. If we can even look at Catholic secondary schools that have buses, going on weekends to tertiary institutions to help with the transportation of students from their hostels to church. These are all dynamics that we may have to look at from the various diocesan levels to help the students. You go to other churches and they have buses to transport their students to church. Our Catholic students do not have, and they are sometimes even attacked on the way when they are going for evening programs, evening services. So there are a whole lot of dynamics that we really have to look at. But the power is not in my hands. The power is in the hands of the bishops and the priests. Thank you.
I am a bit confused, not really knowing where to stand because you are saying that you have all the brilliant ideas, and you are saying that you have presented these ideas to them, some of if not all, some of these ideas to the Episcopal Conference, but you are not getting result. Is that correct? Mr. Pierce, can you hear me? Right. So my difficulty is that if we are saying that we have tabled some of these issues to the Episcopal Conference, and yet we are not getting the necessary response that we need from them, it's quite confusing because it is the same Episcopal Conference that is now lamenting about the dwindling number of Catholics. So what do we need to do? Because the very people who have the and what it takes to solve this, if not all, some of the problems that we have, are not doing anything about the issues that we are presenting to them, and they come back to lament to us. That is the impression I get. I don't know about you, but Peter Usansa is back with a comment, and he says that UG should get a Pax bus. It's been long overdue. I think that's what Mrs. Jeku was talking about. He came back to say that we are trying, but some other charismatic and Pentecostal churches are more strategic, forceful, proactive in keeping their members and even winning over many weak Catholics. Lay ministers like us who have been active in youth and campus ministry should be trained and equipped to help our chaplains. I think that that is why we're having this conversation, and I believe that the necessary authorities or people who are actually in charge are listening, and we are going to have some responses there. Mr. Pierce School, he reports directly to the Episcopal Conference, and so hopefully we believe that he's taking notes, and then he will take um, all these to the Episcopal Conference. But we have actually run out of time. We would have loved to continue this conversation, but for the sake of time, we would leave it here and then continue the conversation on social media. So whenever you post a comment on Facebook, on X, just add the hashtag, and then let's continue that conversation there. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. We were joined this evening by Jokoto Noah Kwame. He is a PAX national president. We also had our Fred IDC UDS PAX president, Joel Salam Apeku. He is KNUST PAX Qua president. Afo Williams, UG PAX president. Tano Grace Ofuri, UCC Pax Secretary. We also had Mr. Apia Susreku, National Coordinator. Pax also joining us later in the conversations. We are grateful that you joined us on 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 YouTube to follow through this conversation. We are because you are there for us. We are grateful for the support. We want to say that we want to encourage you to subscribe and keep sharing so that others get to know about what we're trying to do. So we're just trying to bridge the gap, create a platform for Catholics to have conversations that would actually lead to improving our faith and what we cherish so much. My name is Ernest Senanu Dovlo. I did this with Vincent Kwame Amejake with technical assistance from Jean-Luc Kosi Dockley. We are grateful that you joined us for this conversation, but look out for the next episode, which will try to bring together chaplains from our various tertiary institutions for another conversations. We are grateful that you joined us. Do have a good evening.